Okay, this is day 15, story number 13. Been a little out of pocket the past couple days because I was traveling and at a friend's wedding, and now I'm broadcasting you from lovely Montreal, where I will be for the next week hanging out with Kirsten. When I got up today, I realized I'm in Montreal and it's quite dark and it's a little bit rainy, and started thinking a little bit about rain. Anyone who has come to know me since between 2002 and say 2014 knew that I had a real dislike for going out in the rain and walking. Whenever it was raining, I just wanted to stay inside. Whenever it started raining, I would duck inside. I hated not having an umbrella. I hated getting rain on me. And for a number of years, I really didn't understand where that came from, and then was put into a circumstance that brought it back around and reminded me why. In 2001, I went on a backpacking trip in Alaska. We were going to the Wrangell St. Elias National Park up in Alaska. We were flown in by bush planes, so you're sitting right behind the pilot in this tiny little plane as you're flying in. We were supposed to walk about 6 miles or 6 or 8 miles down a riverbed, up 6,000 feet, across a tundra, down the other side of this thing, down to another riverbed, where at the end of the week, I think we did about 30 miles in that week, we were to meet the bush planes again and get lifted out. We were a small group of about 5 or 6 people. When the planes took us in and dropped us off, it was a bright, sunny day. When the planes took off, it started raining. It rained for the next 7 days. You think I'm joking, like it rained a little bit, then off and on. I think there was one day where there was about 30 minutes where it did not rain. Now you have to remember, this is the middle of a summer in Alaska. So it's light 24 hours a day, and there's the constant tap, 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 tap of water on the tiny little tent that you're kind of in by yourself. Now, at this time, I was still single, traveling by myself, living in a little tiny tent with these people that I was camping with. And for 24 hours a day, we would sit inside of our tents waiting for it to let up enough rain that we could quickly pack, run down the river or run up across or do whatever it was, sit down, set up camp again, get back in our tents, and wait for the rain to stop down. You didn't know if it was 2 a.m., you didn't know if it was midnight, you didn't know it was 3 in the afternoon, you just knew it was time to move again. At that time, I had no reading materials with me, no books. Well, I say no books. I had one book with me. I had a copy of Fast Food Nation, which, to be honest with you, wasn't the best reading material after about the first day. Couple of footnotes on that trip. A couple years later, I hired the same guides to take me and my sister and her husband and their kids and Michael on a backpacking trip in Escalante Canyon in Utah. At that time, the kids asked the guide, they said, Howie, you've done hundreds and hundreds of these trips. Which is the worst one you've ever done? And without missing a beat, he just said, oh, easily, that one I took your Uncle Toby on to Alaska. So that vindicated me a little bit, made it feel like I wasn't just a wuss that couldn't handle the outdoors. And then in 2014, I went to the Transformers Festival, which is just outside of Asheville, North Carolina, in a rainforest. Now, this is the first time that I had been in that much rain in, 12 years? I think 2001 was when I went on this backpacking trip. And it began to rain, and it rained for 4 days straight there. But for some reason, I was able to come to terms with it. I was able to listen to it. I was able to not get infuriated by it. I was able to make it not feel like I had been held captive by weather. So after a 12-year hiatus of not liking rain, now on a drizzly day like today, not so hard to go outside. So that's my rain story. I'll see you again in a bit.